We're good, we're good. How are you?
Share live na po.
Okay. Hang on.
I just wanted to test a little bit on my audio because on my background, there's also some presentation. Can you all hear the background noise?
No, you're good.
Okay, thank you everyone. Okay.
So,
Okay,
Mr. Chair.
we are live.
Yes.
Good afternoon, mga Kapix Pro. Hey, Frenzy, is that you?
Hi, Mr. Chair. Wait lang, Mr. Chair. Nagsiset up ako.
Ganda-ganda mo.
Kamusta po?
Long time no see.
Kaya nga po eh.
Si busy.
And congratulations.
Oh my God. Thank you, ma'am.
Ano nangyari?
Secret,
Ikakasal na
Mr.
siya.
Chair. Hala! Hala, ma'am.
Kasal ka na. Kasalan na ba?
Next year
Ayan,
pa,
good
Mr. Chair.
afternoon, mga Kapix Pro, Mr. Chair, VP
Oh,
Francie,
good
and
afternoon. Batiin natin, no? Si, well, ang suki natin, si Brother Albert Remo. He's watching. And then si Miss Jemima. Magandang hapon. Si Dennis Hope Directo. Good afternoon din sa iyo, brother. Si Tantan Santiago. Good day. Good afternoon. Si Ray. Hang on, hang on.
ayan. Kumusta mga Kapix Pro? Ayan, maulan, ano?
Actually, mainit ang cybersecurity scene ngayon, VP Rudy, no? With the news.
Correct. Medyo may mainit na balita ngayon sa cybersecurity.
Oo nga, ayan, pag-usapan natin yan. Batiin mo natin itong ating mga, si Mr. Ray, Brother Ray, ang incoming president ng PIX Pro Bulacan chapter. Noel, good afternoon din sa iyo, brother. Rafi Placido, magandang hapon. Si Santos Mandy Supnet, good afternoon din. Christopher Ray Lungay. Si Tanaman Matigar Rene, good afternoon din. Si Pres Alan ng PIX Pro Bacolod chapter. Magandang hapon sa inyo dyan, Pres Alan. Si Jeffrey, good afternoon. Oh, si VP Ellen is watching, NCR chapter. Absent ka dito, VP Ellen.
Yes, at Mr. Chair, yung iyong classmate, no? Si
At ang
Sir,
classmate ko, si Christopherson. Pops,
yes.
magandang hapon dyan. Rafael Claveria, good afternoon. Nico Navarrete, good afternoon. Hazel Ann, good afternoon. So, medyo mainit-init ngayon, no? Hey, sorry. We have Eugene. Eugene, you cannot understand. Apologies.
No worries, no worries. All
Okay,
good, all
so
good. Yeah.
I was just going to say that there's been a big issue that was known this morning, but many said that it started 2 days ago. No?
Oh,
Yeah, it started 2 days ago. There were already questions and worries about what's happening, but I think only today it exploded.
yes, yes.
Wow, the very gorgeous Carmela. How are you?
Wow, VP Carms, hello.
Hi, good
afternoon.
afternoon. Di pa tayo are we already on live stream? No?
Yes, live
Yeah.
na.
Oh, we're live, yeah. Parang alam ko yan. Chairman, I read that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's really
It's a chaos now in all the queues.
they released a workaround, no, to fix it, but you have to turn on the safe mode.
Oh
You have to
my.
put the machine on the safe mode. But when you are in the cloud, there's no safe mode,
Correct.
right? There's no safe mode. So many are trying to recover or recovering the binary. It's what is good about it is you only need to recover the binary. But the data, the applications, everything that's installed is still intact. No?
Mhm.
So once you recover the binary and reboot, then everything is back up. But if you have only one server, 5, 10, then that's okay. But if you are an organization with hundreds and even thousands of cloud instance, then you're gonna have to recover the binary every for every cloud asset. Now, for on-prem assets, for bare metals, just boot on safe mode. There's a workaround from CrowdStrike. No, it's very worrying because those affected are also providing critical services, right? And no one is happy about that. No one should be happy about that. But yeah, that is the biggest issue in cybersecurity, the supply chain. No, you'll never know the solutions or the agents that you deploy when it will fail, and if it's just a technical failure, then thank you. Probably that's the least worrying instance. But if it is a supply chain attack, then that is very dangerous.
Yeah, because I think they released an update, right, Chairman? So there was an update and that caused the blue screen of all the
Imagine the blue
I
screen of death.
know, right?
Yeah.
I think more than 10 years ago,
Oh my
15, maybe
gosh.
20 years ago, the last time I saw that blue screen of death. So maybe okay, it's we have 3 minutes. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, magandang hapon mga Kapix Pro, no? It's a sad day for many of our colleagues in IT and cybersecurity. Definitely, it is not a happy weekend for them. Supposedly, yun, yung isang barkada namin, happy na sana siya. Kaso, nagkaroon ng problema and he needs to stay in the office to do the supervise the recovery. No?
Yes.
So it's a sad day. We feel for them. We cannot. No one should be happy about this incident. But we hope to finally learn not to trust everything.
Yes, Mr. Chair. And before we
Totally
proceed
agree.
with our topic, no, batiin ko lang si VP Alvin, no, from La Union chapter. Hello, VP Alvin. Ayan. At si Kevin's Patriot. Alright. Hello, good afternoon sa inyo.
Good afternoon, VP Alvin. Musta dyan sa La Union?
Ayan. At bago tayo magsimula, isisingit ko lang, meron kami yung NCR, meron kaming info drive, no, sa July 24. Ayan. So, shout out sa mga taga Pateros National High School. We will be there. Ayan, kasama si VP Carms, ayan, and the rest of the NCR officers and sa BOD din. Ayan. Si
Oh,
VP
yung
Clancy, hindi raw makakasama
Miss
kasi
Ruby,
nasa Cebu.
Opo.
ano muna natin tong binigay ni board member natin, si VP Ricky, no? Yung balita sa ABS-CBN. Nagkakagulo pala sa NAIA ngayon dahil down din yung sistema ng Cebu Pacific. Oh.
Yes,
Nagkaroon ng
actually,
technical issue.
actually, Mr. Chair, ang dami nga sa feeds ko mga airport.
Just imagine that, di ba? I mean, that's the if you are providing that kind of service.
The worst, Mr. Chair, the trading system is down.
Yeah, yeah. Credit cards are down.
I know.
Probably the debit card also. No? So, well, anyway, so let's give can I give the floor to the chapter president of NCR?
VP Carms. VP Carms will do the honors of introducing our
Yes.
guest speaker for today.
Yes, thank you, thank you. So we're privileged to have 𝐂𝐿𝐥𝐢𝐥𝐢, the security evangelist of Vectra AI. So I'll let Eugene introduce himself. But for today, okay, we have a very interesting topic. So our topic for today is building AI cybersecurity resiliency. Okay, so I think AI is a buzzword right now. Okay, so I think naririnig natin to sa lahat ng conversations natin. And how do we then be proactive in being able to incorporate cybersecurity when we implement AI? Okay, so what Eugene will be discussing, okay, will focus on leveraging artificial intelligence to proactively defend against and rapidly recover from cyber attacks. So by analyzing vast amounts of data, AI-powered systems can identify emerging threats, predict attack patterns, and automate response actions. So this technology enhances an organization's ability to withstand and adapt to evolving cyber threats, minimizing downtime and financial losses. So very timely, this topic that we have. So key components of AI cybersecurity resiliency includes threat detection, incident response, and continuous improvement. Okay, so Eugene will be explaining all of this in his topic. And I'll give the floor to Eugene to introduce himself.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, President, for inviting us to have a chat in this interesting day. I think we all have seen the news this morning. I used to be ex-CrowdStrike, so
Oh.
a lot of my ex-colleagues are.
Yeah. I think in nowadays, okay, most of us in the cybersecurity space are all peers, right? So we need to
Yes,
help
yes,
each
yes.
other, right?
Correct.
So
Agree.
like what
agree.
Mr. Chair mentioned, right? Let's help each other. So this is a
Yes.
collaboration. This is an army. It cannot be alone,
Yes.
right? Yeah,
There's no single silver bullet.
correct.
We also always advocate that people know us from an NDR perspective, but you need to work with EDR providers, the NDR, and of course the SIM to provide some of the holistic kind of protection for your environment. So quick introduction. So I'm actually one of the regional managers here at Vectra. So I worked on the enterprises. I work with the enterprises in Singapore, and then I work with the government and also the enterprises in Thailand and of course across Asia. I'm currently today actually in Bangkok. My partners are actually speaking to one of the banks here to talk about cybersecurity. So today, what I'll be doing is share a bit more on some of why we at Vectra wants to use AI to help customers, and of course what are some of the research that we see, and how our platform can actually help customers, organizations to actually protect against cyber threat using AI. So let me just quickly share the
Eugene,
screen. Oh,
Eugene,
sorry.
before
Hmm.
you start,
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
can you limit your presentation to 20 to 25 minutes so we will have
Sure.
more time to discuss, because this is very interesting. I'm sure you guys have
Yes.
to think about this, no?
Yes.
And our Pix Pro followers also, I'm sure they have a lot of questions. Maybe
Yes,
some of them
definitely.
are I know some of them are impacted, no, and affected also. Okay,
Sure,
thank
no
you.
problem.
Okay,
Let me
where is your
quickly just I'll keep it between 20 minutes, right? Let me quickly just go through, right? So like this is my email. So I'll share my email again at the end of the session. If you're interested to know more or reach out to me, feel free to reach out to me at my email, which is on the screen now. So before I start, I just wanted to share a bit more on who are we at Vectra AI, right? So Vectra AI, we are known as a threat detection and response company. We predominantly, a lot of people know us as a network detection and response provider, but we have actually grown to more than that. We are doing Microsoft, we are doing identity, we are doing the cloud, right? So we are actually founded in 2011. We're actually not a startup anymore, and we have thousands of customers across the globe. And of course, we do have 3 global stocks that support all our customers. We have a stock in Europe, we have a stock in Asia, and a stock in America to support all our customers, right? So the AI in our name didn't just come about because of the recent hype, right? Everybody is talking about AI and whatnot. The AI actually has been the core of our business ever since we start. So we have actually, if you see on the screen, we have security researchers, we have data scientists, and our engineering team actually from ground up, you thought of using AI to actually pinpoint the right signal, or what we call attack signal, to the SOC team, to the customer, to let them know which are the holes, which are the accounts that you need to take note to if there's an attack in your environment. And we have credentials to back it up, right? We have a lot of attack behavior models that we actually built, and we also have 35 patents in terms of AI driven threat detection. And most importantly, if you look at the MITRE ATT&CK framework, we cover more than 90% of those. To be exact, it's 97%. And last but not least, if you look at the screen, top 50 AI leads, there's only actually 2 cybersecurity companies, and one is us. And the other one, if you are familiar with, is this company called Abnormal Security that does more on email. Right. So I want to share, from our context, what do we see, right? We know that modern enterprises would forever be hybrid. There's no enterprise that will be, oh, I'm fully on cloud, I'm fully on-premise. Now, with a lot of SaaS products, with your endpoints and everything, all enterprises are hybrid. And thus, we have this conclusion that all modern attacks are actually hybrid attacks, right? So, and hybrid attacks don't actually operate in silo, right? I believe a lot of organizations have really good tools to actually look at single detections on single, attack surfaces. But to the adversary or to the attackers, right, they see your environment as one surface, and they actually can go anywhere, right? They can go through your data center first, or they can actually compromise your identity. So, hybrid attacks really don't operate in silos. They really have different stages and compromise different things. So that's what we actually see currently happening in the environment now. And of course, when we talk about finding and defending against hybrid attack, right, we usually say it's really like finding the needle within the stack of needles, because it's really, really hard to oh, sorry, I just wanted to minimize the, okay. It's really, really hard to find all these attacks because they are hidden within your environment, because there's a lot of threat exposure now, right? Your surface has gotten bigger and bigger. You used to only run on data center. Now you have M365, you have your AWS cloud, your Azure cloud, and you have your Azure AD, and even your on-prem AD. So there's a lot of exposures happening to environments nowadays. Second, right, alert fatigue, right? With so many of these tools that you're using to defend against hybrid attack, you actually have so many alerts happening. So what we are trying to do is, hey, with all these alerts, how do you find the alert that's most important to you? And of course, last but not least, because of all these alerts, right, the talents are actually spending a lot of time to actually do what we call detection engineering, trying to correlate all these data from different places, and that takes up a lot of time, right? And again, why is defending against hybrid attack so hard, right? Because if you look at a typical way of how hybrid attack does, right, is they usually compromise a appliance or something that maybe you can't install your EDR. And what they do is actually they move your environment, they disable your MFA, right? And potentially they actually compromise an account or in your AD. And with the compromised account, what they do is that they can actually move laterally to actually your M365 environment. They can actually do what we call e-discovery. And what they realize is sometimes, hey, they can actually see that your crown jewels are in AWS. And that's where we say, oh, all hell break loose, right? They actually do exfiltration. And a lot of organizations actually find it very hard to actually stitch all this together. Every time I talk to a customer, I always ask, how do you see all these hybrid attacks, right? Usually, they don't really have the answer to it. And the research that we did, we actually asked industry leaders, right? How confident are you to actually protect against hybrid attacks? When we talk to the security leaders, organization leaders, the head of SOC, they are actually very confident, right? They say they have EDR, they have MFA, they can actually detect it, they can do it in the SIM. They're so confident, they have everything. Everything is right? So, but the problem is when we actually go down to the ground and talk to the people in the trenches, where the people they are managing all these alerts, managing all these tools day in, day out, right? They actually say otherwise, right? Let me just share a bit more on some of the research that we did and some of the research that people like SANS and people like IBM actually have. So first is that 71% of the SOC analysts think that they are already compromised, but they don't know it yet. They think that actually in a lot of all these detections, right, there's actually something that they will look at, but they don't know whether they are compromised or they don't know whether they have actually looked at it already. Second, 90% of the SOC analysts who can't keep up with the alerts that they receive, right? In our research, when we actually interviewed 4,000 over organizations, right? Sorry, 20,000 organizations, right? They actually say that on average, they receive 4,000 alerts every single day, right? And there's no way you can actually look through all those alerts to see them. And there are providers out there that say, okay, maybe I try to help you to reduce your alerts, right? Reducing your alerts by maybe 90%. But you think about it, even reducing alerts by 90%, that means still 400 alerts every single day, right? So we don't believe that reducing alerts is the way to go. We believe that providing organization with the right signal is the way to go. Next, 83% of the SOC analysts, the things that they review, the alerts that they review every day, they see as false positive. So they spend a lot of time looking at all these alerts, and 83% of it becomes false positive, right? So we want to try to reduce that false positive as much as possible, because it not only affects the work, it also affects the morale, right, of the users. And almost all, right, SOC analysts fear that they will miss a real attack buried in alerts. And when we interviewed them, almost half of them have this fear every single day when they go to work, right? And I think this is really, really alarming. And other research from IBM Security, they actually see that, okay, in terms of an 8 hours day that a SOC analyst have, right? They actually spend about 2.5 hours investigating threats that are not real, right? And that's what, 30%, 40% of their time, where if there's a tool that can help them, they can spend that time doing other things that are more beneficial to the organization. Right? And another research, which is quite surprising also, is that with all these advancements in tools, we are all using, everything is more advanced. 2/3 of them say that actually their mean time to act, which is investigate, responding, or even detecting, has gone worse over the past few years, even before this. So I think this is definitely very alarming, right? And last but not least, SOC teams are spending so much time doing all this. They also don't really know how to report their own value, and they decided not to try, right? So from a Vectra point of view, we believe to reduce, to really find and pinpoint, finding that needle within that needle, we need to use AI to find the attacks that others cannot, so that the defenders, the SOC team, can actually stop them, right? We also, one of the things we argue that why you should use AI is that what makes you think the other side is not using AI, right? The other side, with all their sophisticated tools on the adversary end, they're actually using AI to actually make their phishing attack more accurate, to make the attack more, efficient, right? So you need to use AI when your adversary is actually using AI. So how do we do it, from a Vectra AI point of view? We provide what we call these 3 C's to the organizations, right? First is coverage, right? If you look at the attack surfaces out there, generally there's 5: endpoint, network, identity, SaaS, and cloud, right? Generally, we see that there is 5 attack surface, and we cover 4 out of the 5, right? Which I'll dive a bit more later. Second, about clarity, right? Using AI to think like an attacker, do the triaging for you, and last but not least, prioritize the signal and give you the right signal for you or the SOC team to work on, right? And this is very important. And of course, last but not least, control, right? Giving the control back to the SOC team, letting them be able to respond, right? Whether is it respond through EDR, respond through your AD to lock the account, or even firewall, right? Giving that control to the customer, to the organization, to the SOC team to be able to respond and of course remediate some of these attacks is very important. And last but not least, of course, with new tools, there's always time to actually know how to use it. From a Vectra point of view, we also have what we call a managed detection and response, where actually we help customers to actually manage the system so that they can spend more time to do other things like improving their other portions of their security. So when I talk about the attack surface, like what I mentioned, generally is this 5 attack surface. We don't do endpoint, right? Because we know there are good players like SentinelOne, Defender, and of course everybody hearing it, CrowdStrike, right? So we do integration with them instead of competing with them. But what we do is network, from a network detection response point of view, identity, which we actually look at threat detection in your on-premise AD or Azure AD, which now they are calling Entra ID, and SaaS, like your M365 environment, because now M365 environment is something that a lot of adversaries are trying to exploit. And we talked about AI against AI, right? A lot of people are trying to use Copilot. We also need to find a way to actually find threats in terms of Copilot. So that's what our SaaS detections are for. And last but not least, on the public cloud, where we can actually look at the control plane of your Azure environment, of your AWS environment, to look at, IAM users, EC2 spinning up, whether it's any malicious things, instead of just looking at the public cloud from a network point of view or infra point of view. And we are able to actually integrate all these stories so that if the adversary does any cross-domain lateral movement, we are able to stitch it because our AI is actually looking at all the detection. Our AI is actually doing all the correlation. And like what I mentioned, from a network perspective, we are called the NDR. Cloud perspective, we have a cloud detection response. M365 perspective, we have also the cloud detection response, and of course identity, right? We do have identity detection response. So this is our coverage for organizations, for customers, and of course we integrate with the EDRs of the CrowdStrikes of the world, the SentinelOne of the world, to get context from them, and of course to actually do response using the EDR, which I'll share a bit more later. So how do we do it, right? How do we provide clarity to customers, right? Firstly, whenever we get those detections, we will actually link or correlate those detections to either a host or an account, right? The different kind of detections from network, from the cloud, from identity, we actually correlate it to an account or a host. And from there, we give them a attack profile or attack rating, and we use AI to actually triage it. And by giving an attack profile and rating, we actually prioritize it. And we give you what is important, what is the most malicious one. And we actually tell you these are critical, right? So let me just give an example. This is an example of a customer that we did in Asia, right? We were observing about, almost 200,000 hosts getting about 51 terabyte of metadata, and there were almost 30,000 events flagged, right? So we have used AI to actually get more detections, but we also use AI to do triaging, right? They are AI-driven triaging. And last but not least, the most important thing is using AI to prioritize, right? To tell you which are the 5 hosts, which are the hosts as critical that you really need to look at. Because I'm always honest, right? The data or the network traffic, everybody gets the network traffic, everybody gets the detection. But what is important is where should I pay my attention to? And that's where our AI will prioritize the host that is being compromised that you need to really pay your attention to. And to dive a bit deeper on our AI and what's the difference between, others' AI and what we do, right? Firstly, our AI is built from ground up. When we created this platform, we have already know that, we wanted to use AI for this platform, right? And then we have built from ground up. So when you talk about AI, there's 2 things. One is called a supervised learning, and one is called an unsupervised learning. According to Gartner, NDR is more of a anomaly detection, right? And that's the unsupervised learning part, where most of the NDR providers go to your environment, they study your environment for 2 weeks, and anything that is abnormal from that 2 weeks behavior, there will be an alert, right? This is important because every customer's environment is different. But the problem with this is you will have a lot of alerts because one small thing, that is abnormal for the past 2 weeks, there will be an alert. So let's say, for example, I'm in Singapore for 2 weeks. The next day, I actually travel to Manila. I log in. That will be flagged up because that's the abnormal behavior according to the unsupervised model. So what we did was to cooperate the unsupervised learning with supervised learning, where we actually have pre-built machine learning models to actually look at what are the TTPs of MITRE, right? If you look at this, these are all our pre-built machine learning models that's aligned to the MITRE attack framework, right? We actually use a lot of different data sources. We actually look at things like how the hosts interact with the accounts, how the accounts interact with the service accounts, and we actually look at the velocity of all these attacks. And we pump through the unsupervised learning and the supervised learning. We actually reduce those alerts. We only tell you what are the things that is more critical to look at. So if you look at the previous slide that I show, from thousands of hosts, thousands of incidents, we are able to reduce and prioritize 5 hosts that customers or organization or even the SOC team need to actually look at. So how does our architecture look like, right? So from an NDR point of view, right, we actually need a virtual sensor or a physical sensor that can be on-premise or in the cloud, right? It can be in your data center, it can be in your IoT environment, it can be in your cloud environment, right? All we have to do is to put a sensor and we mirror the traffic, right? It's out of band, agentless, right? So we just have to mirror the traffic into our sensor. It can be virtual, like I mentioned, or if you want an appliance for air gap, you can actually do that. So we actually push the metadata, we extract the metadata, which is about 0.01% of the network traffic, to our brain, right? Our brain, although this picture looks like a cloud, our brain can be hosted in your premise, in your data center, or it can be hosted on cloud. It's very flexible. And this is where all the magic happens, right? This is where all the AI and ML actually happen, right? And we can do it in our 1U appliance in your own premise, right? And that is the NDR perspective. If you look at public cloud, where it's a control plane, you look at identity, you look at M365, right? We are actually taking in all the API log and we do all the correlation. So like, for example, AWS, we are actually taking in the cloud fail log, right, to actually do all the correlation. So like what I mentioned, actually the log that everybody takes is the same, right? But we are able to use AI to actually pinpoint to you what is actually malicious. And of course, last but not least, we actually work with EDR providers, right, to do the response, right? Because from our perspective, we believe that responding, you need to lock down the host or lock down the account, where we can actually do our response through your AD to actually lock down those accounts. So these are the two ways we actually do responding, right? And one of the use cases that I always share with people is Blackstone, right? Blackstone is our global customers. They manage trillions of assets globally. They are not just our customers, but they are also our investor, right? So what happened is when we go in, what we did was to help them to have more detections a day, but we also help them to reduce the amount of alerts using our AI-driven prioritization. And what happens is this has reduced or make them have faster mean time to detect, faster mean time to investigate, and of course respond. And overall, having better security posture in their environment. And these are some of the customer feedback that we have. I know we are cautious of time, so I don't want to go through every single thing. So one of the interesting thing is we also do detection in Microsoft Copilot, right? Like now a lot of businesses want to use AI, but there are still risks on AI, right? So we are able to detect things like suspicious access on Copilot sensitive to data discovery, and of course jailbreak attempt, right? That day when I was just meeting a customer, he had a challenge for us, right? How do you know Microsoft can be jailbreak? All we had to do was just Google Copilot jailbreak. There are TikTok videos. There are so many instructional videos to teach you how to actually jailbreak M365. And because we built machine learning models, we are able to see those behavior, right? Like usually what will happen is an account will be compromised. And then after that, they will actually use Copilot. So we have been trying to help customers to actually detect any malicious or any adversary in their Copilot environment. So at the end of the day, I just wanted to share why customers choose Vectra, right? It's because it's easy to deploy, it's easy to learn, and it's ecosystem friendly. We have integration with your SOAR, with your SIM, even with your ServiceNow, your EDR. We are very open in terms of how we can integrate, because we know that, like what we mentioned, cybersecurity is about an army. It's not just one solution. So we are able to integrate with your army to work together better. And of course, we look at attacks, right, and not at me. So instead of using time to investigate things that are not real, we actually use AI to prioritize and tell you which are the things that are real. So that's it for my presentation. If you're interested to know more, you can reach out to me at my email, eang@vectra.ai. I just wanted to check with the team, do I have maybe 5 minutes more to just show a quick demo? Hi team, do I have just a few minutes to just show a bit of demo?
Press, I think, how many minutes is that? How many minutes?
I'll just take about 3 minutes to show a little bit
Okay,
of
all right,
yep.
yeah, that should be okay.
Sure.
Okay, 3 minutes then.
Okay, just let me end my slideshow. Okay, so I mean, I can share how good we are and everything, but I believe seeing is believing, right? So what I want to share today is just a recording that my team did to show a tool that we use called Pantera. With us, they do penetration testing and how our platform actually detected. Use noise. Okay. So firstly, we actually ran. So this is how our platform looks like, right? We decided to make sure it's clean. We tell which is the host to look at. So usually when customers use Spectra, they just look at, when they come to the office or the SOC team come to the office, they usually just look at the critical or the high and do the investigation. And only when they have time, they look at the medium and the low, right? So we actually ran a Pantera test that does. So the first step that the Pantera test did was network sniffing and discovery of network, right? And as you can see from there, our platform actually caught the RPC record. and this is real time, right? And with AI, we actually profile this attack as IT discovery, which is true, right? They are trying to recon, they are trying to discover what's in the environment. And this is all AI, this is all dynamic. And we also provided a threat score and a certainty score, and this is for low because we only find one detection on this attack. And if you look at the whole quadrant, right, you go to the host, you can actually see what are the hosts that are inside this quadrant. So from this demo, we actually filter out the Pantera host. You can see that this is the Pantera host, and actually this is what are the detections that we see, right? And as the attack progresses, what they are trying to do is actually to do a brute forcing to find vulnerability in the environment, right? We can actually see. So let's skip this. We actually saw the brute force, and when they did the brute forcing, our AI actually changed the attack profile to vulnerability discovery. So instead of having a human to actually do all the analysis and do the decision, right? AI is actually there to actually do all these profiling for the SOC team, right? And if you look at it, we can actually download the PCAP. If you want to do more investigation on that, you can download into your Wireshark, do your deeper investigation. And we can also go forward. So as the attack progresses, right, you can see it has become critical. Why? Because there's additional port scanning, there's file share enumeration, right? And this happened in 15 minutes. This is a live video, although I'm skipping it, but this is a live video showing how AI actually can pinpoint to the host and in real time, right? So when you look at this into the host, you are able to see what is the file that's being enumerated. And you are also, if your team has a junior analyst or somebody who's not that familiar, when you look at this detection, you are able to see actually what are the triggers, what is the possible root cause, and what is the business impact. And most importantly, what is the step to verify and to respond to it. Right. So this is just a very high level on what our platform can see. Hopefully, if you're interested, feel free to reach out to me at my email, and then we can actually show you further details on how we are using AI to actually protect customer data. So thank you all for your time to listening to my sharing. I think that's all from my end. Over back to you. Or is there any questions in the Q&A?
Good afternoon. Okay. Thank you, Eugene. Oh, that was a very nice demo. But we all know that, as you mentioned, cybersecurity cannot be delivered or cannot be accomplished by just a single solution. But you made a very good point there, no? Using AI to analyze quicker, no, or quickest, maybe, in understanding attacks. So humans can definitely make mistakes, and maybe more mistakes than the reality, no? So in relation to what occurred in this CrowdStrike, one of our viewers made a very good point, no, that it's a blue screen of death, but caused by the cybersecurity solution. I think this was due to the automatic updates, no, or automatic delivery and installation of updates that caused the blue screen of death. So how do we address this kind of issues? I mean, Vectra will definitely not, correct me if I'm wrong, no, not recognize a globally known cybersecurity solution for an attack. So how can this be addressed? Can this be addressed by doing what we used to do? We download manually, we test, and then we deploy. Eugene.
So, yes. So I think from an EDR point of view, when we always say, because it's an agent, right? So the agent it definitely can do a lot of things in your endpoint. So last time when we were talking about agent, we usually recommend organizations to use the version of N-1 or N-2, right? Because if you are automatically updated to the latest version, if there's anything that is like what happened today, right? You won't be able to avoid it. So what I can recommend is always use N-1 and N-2, so that even in those versions you're actually well protected. It's just that you may be able to get away from all these new additional bugs, right? So that's something that I would recommend security practitioners in your environment now.
All right. Coming from our audience, we'd like to magtanong kayo, no, kung meron kayong gustong itanong in relation to the capability of Vectra and what happened earlier. So ang laki pala, I mean the damage or the impact is huge, no? Airlines are affected, credit cards, banks, and other service providers that are other organizations that are using M365, the Azure environment. We don't know yet the extent of this issue, but we have seen this before, no, with SolarWinds also. But SolarWinds was not destructive. It was really meant to intrude, no? It was intrusive, and this one is not destructive. But if someone like a terrorist, for example, no, whose agenda is just to cause terror and havoc, this is a good scenario. This is a perfect scenario, right? And if majority of the global community is using a specific solution or specific cybersecurity solution, then hack into that organization, modify the updates, and then disseminate to all organizations. What's going to happen to us? What if cloud providers go down, like Azure will go down, AWS will go down, and other small providers? The question is, are they ready? No. Obviously, they did not expect this kind of situation because they've been impacted. They are affected. No. Are the banks ready? What if the critical infrastructures are also using that specific solution? Are they ready? So we now go back to backup. But backup, you can create an image, but for you to be updated all the time, you need to create an image every now and then. And data backup, yes, you can, but this just the same. You need to test your backups. Otherwise, we've seen that also, no, backups failing. So I mean, coming from a wider visibility, Eugene, no? What is the end-to-end recommended practice? Not only having Vectra, no, not only having an EDR or an XDR, in your case NDR. What is an end-to-end practice?
Thanks for the question. I think in terms of security wise, of course, you also need your perimeter security, right? Because in relation to any adversary they attack, they need to go into your environment. So the first layer is always perimeter security. But once they are in, if they are evaded to all the other tools, you need to completely cover your security. So of course, EDR is important because EDR sees what's happening in the host, right? A lot of attack happens is because they are compromised a host and they are able to actually disrupt an organization through a host. So EDR is also important, right? From our perspective, we also feel NDR is very important because we look at the network, right? A lot of things in the network, cannot be changed. So the network is actually your single source of truth, right? And from a network perspective, okay, from an attack point of view, right? The attacks don't happen in one day, right? They actually go into your environment, it's in your environment, and you need AI, you need a way to actually remember all these steps, correlating all these steps to this host, right? So an example of actually one of the attacks that you see in one of the organizations in the Philippines, right? When we did testing, was that the adversary actually did scanning 2 a.m. in the middle of the night, one short burst. 2 weeks later, they did another short burst, and another 2 weeks later, they did another short burst. And the organization actually has a full SOC team. They have MFA, they have firewall, they have everything, but they didn't see it, right? So you also definitely need to have the visibility in your network, right? And of course, there's so many data sources, right? You definitely also will need a team to be able to correlate all these data sources to actually build up use cases to actually find these adversaries. And that's the security part. Today, I think what happened this morning is more of, I would say, business continuity, right? Instead of just also looking at security, like what you mentioned, also looking at backup. And of course, customers that are on the cloud, right? I would say not say you cannot trust the cloud 100%, right? But the cloud service providers are actually looking at the uptime, looking at the security of the infrastructure. But whatever application you're actually doing, you also need to make sure it's highly available, right? Even if one of the cloud providers or one of the centers of the cloud provider is down, right? You are able to make sure that your business continues. So it's from a security perspective to a backup perspective to a business continuity perspective. I think that will be a good end-to-end to make sure that business continue to run. Because if your business is critical, right, things can happen. Like airports that's happening today. If you don't prepare this end-to-end, you will the business disruption is really there. And this what like we mentioned just now, it's really a sad day for everyone.
Well, that's a good point, no? But we also know that cybersecurity is based on how much the organization can spend or willing to spend. And it's also based on revenue. If revenue is good, then you get a good budget. Revenue is bad, you get bad budget. No? So there is, in my almost 30 years in this industry, I have not seen an organization who's willing to spend and mirror what they have in one location to another location. No? So this is a good example what's happening right now, because we also found out that even the big ones, I don't know if they did not anticipate this or they just trusted the solution. No? We have a very good question here from Benson. No? Is this considered a zero-day exploit? Well, as for me, I will. It's too early to say that this is an exploit. No, this could be a badly coded or corrupted. Definitely not corrupted because it was able to run, install itself, and impacted the OS. No, so but is this an exploit? We don't know yet. That's an investigation. If this happened to be an exploit, there is a bigger problem there. No, if this is just a coding or a badly coded update, then governance issue, I would say. No, the governance issue in their change management probably, but that's even to me that's a bigger issue also, because you are a global player, not just a global player, you're a major player in this space, and you have this kind of issue, right? So what happened? Now, either way, there is something wrong in between, no? Between the the provider and the customer who downloaded and installed. So or just security solution malfunction. Well, that is what we are seeing right now. That's what we saw. No? But we should wait. We should wait for the result of the investigation. So Linux users don't have headaches right now. Well, I agree. You don't have
But
headaches.
ito yung mga Apple users, Chairman.
Yeah.
And Apple users. No, but you know, it's not a reason for us to feel what you call this, complacent. No,
Yes.
we cannot be happy about this. No, that Windows are failing and we are not. Ours is not, our environment is not, because we are using a different. But yes, it's obviously true that Linux users and Linux administrators are they don't have headaches right now. No, so mahirap yung mano-mano, sabi ni Benson. Well, that's what we mentioned earlier. Are we going back to the old times? No, na the environment is very small. We can afford to do a manual testing. No, but if you are today, you are talking about cybersecurity, you cannot have a prolonged timeline of
Remediation.
remediation or updating your patches. You need to be fast because every hour, every day, or every week that you don't patch or you don't remediate, that is a window of opportunity for the threat actors. No, so torn between two approaches right now. You go back to the traditional, then you also leave your environment open. So what do we do? What do you do? No, or what will you do today? If this is happening to a major global player, how can we tell ourselves that we can sleep safely at night, having other solutions or other agents in our environment? So what is now the strategy? Do you expect every solution to fail? Of course, you should. Every solution you deploy, you should expect that solution to fail. If not today, then tomorrow. If not tomorrow, then the next day. So this is why we always say that, you know, in cybersecurity, there is no time to sleep. There's no weekend. There's no holiday, because you always anticipate problems like this. If you start trusting blindly the solutions that you deploy or you bought, then you will have a problem. And this is one of the problems, because we don't know how these guys are protecting themselves, right? They're selling, but are they also secure on their end? We keep on telling our peers and our organizations we have to have governance, but are these people having or practicing the highest level of governance? We practice the highest level of cyber risk management. Are these people? See, there is always, that's the problem of the supply chain, no? Because we don't know. We don't know how this product was developed. We don't know how this patches is developed. We don't know how they secure. We don't know. I mean, the SolarWinds issue before really opened the door, the reality that, you know, these guys are not really doing the highest level of cybersecurity practice. Now, what about CrowdStrike? Are they? What about the other EDRs? What about Vectra? How do you ensure that you are secured? Organizationally, Eugene, if you have any, if you know how, can
I
share.
think from all the different vendor perspectives, right? Like, you know, we do have our own, you know, business continuity plan. We do have our own certification of security, right? So, you know, whenever whenever I talk to, you know, big customers, they also want to ensure that business continuity on our side, right? So we do our BCP, we do our backups, you know, we do our cybersecurity posture and all these. But like what you mentioned, you know, we do not know what is the cause of the incident, you know, with CrowdStrike. So I believe a lot of all these organizations, you know, we want to actually make sure that our brand is there. You know, we don't want to spoil our reputation. And we actually do all this on the back end to make sure that we comply to, you know, all these necessary regulatory, and make sure that we keep our business running, we keep our applications running, right? We do have big security, big teams, IT teams at the back of us to actually make sure this happens, right? But unfortunately, you know, sometimes things do happen. There are some gaps, you know, I cannot say for every vendor or every organizations, but of course there are some gaps, you know, that may happen, right? But the best thing to do is to, you know, quickly solve it, right? Quickly make sure the product we provide, quickly make sure that our business go running, and I think that's what's most important.
Eugene, we have another question here. I have a question, but let's accommodate our viewers first. According to Raymond, if this IT outage isn't a cyber attack, what potential risks does 𝐂𝐲𝐲 or Vectra, I think he meant Vectra, foresee for the global economy and individual lives in the event of a similar major IT outage by a major vendor?
This is a tough question, I must say. I honestly wouldn't be able to comment on what can happen to the global economy. But, you know, potentially because there's so many critical infrastructure, healthcare that are using software, you know, whether is it CrowdStrike or not. So there's definitely impact in terms of potentially human lives. So this is something that I see, I would say I can comment that, you know, human lives may be lost, you know, yeah, that's just something that I would say. Or even like hospital, right? There's a treatment that can happen, but because of all these things, because of tech, you know, that life can be affected as well as wonderful. But economy-wise, you know, I'm not an economy expert, but I think definitely there will be certain impact. How much impact is it? It really depends, right, on how fast things can recover.
Well, if I may add, no, the potential risk, it's no longer potential. We've seen it already, no? The downtime definitely has a financial risk. The downtime that's happening now, the
Brand
hospital cannot
reputation.
operate, you know, yeah, the airports that the airlines that is not 100% operational. There's a financial risk there.
Yeah.
And next, operational. That you have your operations. You know, credit cards are not available. Other services are not available. That's reputational. No? That's reputational. Now, what we want to know is there a legal risk or compliance issue there, you know, with those who got affected, and for the solution. What is the legal implication on both? No, what are the penalties? What are the possible penalties? Is it going to be a financial penalty? And for CrowdStrike also is the same. They are facing a big reputational issue with this incident. No, so those are the potential risks. No, if something like this happens again to any solution globally, just imagine globally, if airports cannot operate because of a failure of a certain solution that is common to majority or many airports in the whole world, you're gonna have a big problem there, no? So this is an issue that's affecting. That's why we need to be very. We are talking about being very paranoid, no, so that we don't experience this kind of situations.
Yep. Agree. And I think in terms of legal wise, it's not just with providers like us, right? I know, you know, system integrators, managed service providers, you know, they do also have legal binding contracts with organizations, with their customers. Yeah, so actually the impact actually is a lot. It's a domino effect, right? It impacts everywhere.
I have a question, Eugene. In Vectra, how do you measure success? In your
Vectra,
organization, when you meet every quarter or every fiscal year end or calendar year end, what do you talk about when you talk about the success of Vectra?
okay. I think different teams have different metrics, right? But overall, in terms of an organization, of course, is how our growth is, right? The number of new customers that we get on board. Not only that, but also customer retention, right? Customer retention is very important because we want to make sure that our current customers get the benefits that our service can offer to them, and they retain as our customers, and they potentially become our champion. Right. So I think the main two things, of course, as the overall organization is actually the growth, right? Retention, and of course, because we are trying to grow this region, new customers acquisition. Yeah.
I think you are using the same measure as the other vendors. No, at the end of the day,
Yeah.
you measure the revenue, quarterly revenue generated, and after calendar year end, whether you profit or loss. No,
Yeah.
but did you? I mean, did Vectra consider measuring your contribution in improving the cybersecurity posture of a country where you are present or globally? I mean, in this country, what is your presence? And what was the status in this country in cybersecurity before you came in and after you came in? Do you have that kind of because I asked some other vendors, they don't have that kind of measure, because at the end of the day, it's whether every cybersecurity solution contributed to the improvement of the cybersecurity posture of an organization, of a country, or a global community, right? Anyway, okay. So from Arlene, our executive director, so from the perspective of a cybersecurity solution provider to another, how can you bounce back in terms of regaining not only your prestige but also your integrity if faced with an imminent challenge such as this one? Or in any case, can cyber insurance help? Or would it still be on the aspect of cyber resilience? Eugene?
The funny thing is, I thought because I left CrowdStrike, I don't need to answer such question today.
Well, you are the expert now.
But of course, I think having to make sure that you really make sure the customer go through this together with you, right? To be there for the customer, from both a relationship side and a technical side. I think always be there for the customer when this happens, and make sure you go through it together. And of course, after that, to ensure that you continuously, do a lot of touch points with the customer to make sure that this don't happen again, or how we can improve overall together. I think not just the solution, but of course the relation, right? Like what you mentioned, there's a little bit of breach in terms of the reputation. So really trying to build up that relationship again, really trying to see how you can give more value add to the customer, and also helping your partners. I think that's something very important. I think the relationship you need to build from, not say ground up, but it drops a little bit, but you just need to really build it again, right? Yeah. That's what potentially we will do if anything happens like this, from a backdrop perspective. And of course, have a plan to say, okay, this has happened. How can we make sure it doesn't happen? Share those plans with the customer, get the confidence back, right? And always have a timeline to continue to keep touch with the customer to make sure that the confidence that they have can be gained back.
On the insurance or resilience, no? Imagine if this was a ransomware infection. that the resolution will take not only days, not only weeks, but months. And we have the banks, we have critical services, hospitals, airlines affected. So yes, if you have cyber insurance, you can pay, but operationally, you're still down. Financially, you're still affected. And not only you, but also the community that you are serving and other businesses and agencies, no, both private and government that are connected to you are also affected. So, cyber insurance or cyber resilience. Our problem, I think, is we have different definitions, no, of being resilient. So we also have different definitions of being secured. We also have different definitions of being compliant. So that is the nature of cybersecurity, because for more than 20 years already, we still fail to define the real meaning of cybersecurity. Unlike digitalization, unlike automation, unlike integration, no, it's very easy. We already defined that. But cybersecurity, unfortunately, we still have a different perspective. Every organization has its own perspective of cybersecurity. Every country has its own perspective of cybersecurity. We do not have a standard. And that is the nature of cybersecurity. That's why it is complicated and difficult to win. And the fact that we are not teaching cybersecurity in schools. And those schools that are teaching cybersecurity, they also have their own understanding of cybersecurity. Is it the right understanding? For them, yes. For others, no. But what we should worry about is our threat actors are getting better. Now, this one is just a badly coded patch that impacted the Windows OS, blue screen of death. But the good thing is, if you are bare metal, then you can boot your machine to safe mode and then do the remediation suggested by CrowdStrike. However, if you're in the cloud, then you need to do the recovery of the binary, no? And then you're done. So thank God this is not a ransomware infection, no? So different budget then, oh, sabi niya. Yes, different budget. Different budget because our board also have different mindsets, no? The president and CEOs have different levels of understanding and priorities, right? So, mga ka-Pix Pro, lumagpas na tayo, no? We are at 6:02 already, and about cyber resilience and cyber insurance, we actually are preparing to do a session on ransomware, no? Ransomware, what do you need? Cyber resilience or cyber insurance? No. If you say that you are getting a cyber insurance, that's good. But you know what threat actors are doing? They are hacking insurance companies offering cyber insurance. They hack them and then they find the list. No? Then they infect the company with ransomware. Company will say, I'm sorry, we don't have money. We are a small company. And then the threat actor send the policy. Hey, this is your insurance policy. No? So we are also worried about threat actors not honoring the deals. No? So there's a lot of worries in ransomware. We have seen a rise of an increase of ransomware attacks and an increase of ransom that's being asked. No? So cyber resilience definitely is what you need, but it's very difficult to achieve. And also there's a value chain there, and in every chain there's a supply chain, so that makes it. So to everyone, mga Kapix Pro, another very interesting discussion, no? But we're not done yet. We will monitor the investigation result of what really happened. Then we can open another session and see if we can learn from all the whatever will be released in the investigation. But Vectra definitely is a very good solution to have, especially if you are a one-man army in your cybersecurity, or especially if your team is very limited. Now, Vectra can definitely help you.
Yep.
Press Ruby.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, before we end our kwentuhang cybersecurity, we'd like to thank Eugene, of course, for sharing his knowledge, and also si Miss Jerry Ann. Hello, ma'am, from the Polion. Thank you. Ma'am, ano ka naman? Face reveal.
Miss Jer, face reveal.
Out there. Hi, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you po.
Hello.
And
Hello.
any word, ma'am? Ma'am, naka-mute ka.
Nakamute ka, Miss Jero. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
protein.
Thank you. And thank you then, VP Francie and VP Carms, and to everyone. So, until next week. So VP Carms?
So, siguro before we end, let's just extend our sympathy, to
Yes.
the companies that got affected, especially the IT and the cybersecurity team, and those who will be working
Yep.
overtime
Over the
tonight
weekend.
and over the weekend. Just keep it up, and hindi naman nabago sa atin yan, no? Sa cybersecurity, happy lang, walang weekend.
Walang weekend.
Okay.
Can we do it all together?
All right. So another weekend is coming. So para doon sa mga hindi affected sa nangyari, happy
Happy
weekend. sa inyo.
lang.
But for those who were affected and the whole cybersecurity professionals, happy lang.
Happy lang.
Happy lang.
Walang
Walang
weekend.
Walang
weekend.
weekend.
Isa pa, isa pa.
Eugene, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Thank you,
Jen.
Eugene.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.